Welcome back to the cryptowrld channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and right now we are seeing a massive signal flash that we haven't seen flash since 3 years ago. So I'll be talking more about that later in the video. Definitely stick around. First of all, just giving you a quick update on the daily Bitcoin chart, and right now the daily Bitcoin RSI is still holding above this upwards trending line of support, which technically means the price of Bitcoin is still in this shorter term bullish relief on the daily time frame. But with that being said, if you're looking at the daily Bitcoin MACD, as I also explained yesterday, this right now is telling us that we have a lack in bullish momentum at the moment on the daily time frame. And so even though the price of Bitcoin is still technically within this short-term bullish relief where the price is basically just slowly drifting to the upside, due to the lack in bullish momentum at the moment, we shouldn't exactly be expecting any explosive moves to the upside, at least anytime soon. But obviously, if things change here in the coming days on the daily Bitcoin chart, I'll be sure to keep you updated in these videos each day. And now, speaking of explosive moves in the price of Bitcoin, staying on the daily time frame, but looking at the Bollinger Band indicator, right now we're seeing a massive squeeze formation at the moment. In fact, if we look at this indicator at the bottom of the screen, we can see that right now this is the tightest squeeze in the Bollinger Bands indicator for Bitcoin on the daily time frame that we've seen since the middle of August. Because in case you're new to this channel, this indicator at the bottom of the screen shows the width of the Bollinger Band. So the lower this indicator is, the tighter the Bollinger Bands are squeezing. And in case you don't already know, when we see a tight squeeze in the Bollinger Bands, that usually comes just before an extremely volatile move in the price of Bitcoin. And usually on the daily time frame, when we see this happen, we typically see the squeeze in the Bollinger Bands around 1 to 2 weeks before the volatile move begins. And so far, at the time of recording this video, we've currently been in this squeeze formation on the daily Bitcoin chart for pretty much exactly 1 full week now. And so what this tells us is, based on the Bollinger Bands and Bitcoin's history, we should be expecting an extremely volatile move, perhaps sometime this week coming. And obviously, you can see here for yourself all of these previous times where we saw a massive squeeze in the Bollinger Bands indicator for Bitcoin on the daily time frame. And so far, over the last 1 year, all of these significant squeezes in this indicator have resulted in an extremely volatile move in the price of Bitcoin coming not long after the squeeze. And in case you're wondering the size of these volatile moves, in this first example, we saw a volatile move to the downside of around 38% that played out over the next few weeks after the squeeze in the Bollinger Bands. And then looking at this second example, we saw a volatile move to the downside of around 36%. In the third example, we saw a volatile move to the downside of around 44%. And in this most recent example, we saw a volatile move to the downside of around 25%. So we're talking about around a 20 to 40% move in the price of Bitcoin, potentially starting sometime in the coming week. But anyway, zooming into the shorter term, taking a look at the 4-hour Bitcoin chart. And right now, technically speaking, the price of Bitcoin is currently in a short-term uptrend because we're still seeing a higher low and higher high price structure. But if you're looking at the 4-hour Bitcoin price oscillators, right now they're actually looking somewhat neutral. They're not looking overly bullish or overly bearish in the immediate short term. Because first of all, looking at the 4-hour Bitcoin RSI, as of right now, this is very close to its neutral level, which is 50. And on top of that, in the RSI on the 4-hour time frame, we also have a bearish divergence pattern, and at the same time as that, we have a hidden bullish divergence pattern with higher lows in the price action and lower lows in the RSI. And typically, when we see a divergence on the 4-hour time frame, these divergences normally play out over around 1 to 2 days before they begin to wear off. And so this previous bearish divergence is potentially beginning to wear off as of right now because it is around 2 days old. But the hidden bullish divergence, on the other hand, is pretty much around 1 day old, which means it could play out for perhaps over the next 1 day or so. But considering the fact that a hidden divergence is technically weaker than a regular divergence, I wouldn't exactly be expecting a lot of explosive bullish price action over the next day or so. And instead, one of the most likely scenarios in the short term is most likely going to be a little bit more choppy sideways price action. And this can also be backed up by the 4-hour Bitcoin MACD, because right now it's technically still in the red. It's still slightly more bearish than bullish, although we're seeing reduced bearish momentum with the history histogram making its way back up towards zero. And so this is yet another more neutral signal in the short term, so it's not overly bullish or overly bearish as of right now. And so due to all of this, right now my short-term trading strategy has not changed as what it's been over the last few days. And so if you're new to this channel and you want to know what my short-term trading strategy is right now, then check out my last few videos on this channel. But if you simply want to know how to make a lot of profit when the price action is just chopping around sideways, then stick around to the end of this video. But anyway, getting into the Ethereum part of this video, this right here is the daily Ethereum to US dollar chart, looking at the Bollinger Bands indicator once again. And right now we're seeing an extremely tight squeeze in the Bollinger Bands indicator. In fact, if you look at the Bollinger Band width indicator and zoom all the way out on this daily time frame, this is the tightest squeeze in the daily Ethereum Bollinger Band that we've seen in nearly 3 years. Because if we're simply looking at the Bollinger Band width indicator, looking at the last time where we saw the width this low, that was all the way back in around November 2019, so nearly 3 years ago. And now if we zoom into that time period right there, so we can take a closer look at what actually happened back in around November 2019, this right here was of course that extremely tight squeeze in the Bollinger Band indicator, and not long after that squeeze, just a few days after that squeeze, we saw another extremely volatile move in the price of ETH. And in fact, if you measure out this move from when it started around the squeeze to the bottom of the initial volatile move, that was around a 30% crash to the downside. So once again, that's in line with the size of the volatile moves that we've seen for Bitcoin over the last 1 year or so, anytime we see a squeeze in the Bollinger Bands, because once again, we usually see around a 20 to 40% volatile move. And so due to the fact that the Bollinger Bands for Ethereum on the daily time frame are currently seeing the tightest squeeze that we've seen in nearly 3 years, this means that it is extremely likely that we're going to begin a volatile move for the price of ETH sometime in this coming week. And now obviously when it comes to trading and investing, there's never any guarantees. And so it's just important to understand that even though a volatile move is very likely to happen sometime potentially in the coming week, it's technically still not a 100% guaranteed chance. So technically there is a small chance that we might not see a volatile move. But personally, the trading strategy that I normally take when there's a fairly high probability of a volatile move coming sometime soon is to simply place conditional orders on either side of the price. And so basically, if the price action breaks key support and then triggers a conditional order to the downside, that would essentially automatically open a short position, which would capture that volatile move to the downside. But on the flip side, if the price never breaks key support and instead it breaks key resistance, then above some key resistance, I would place a conditional order to the upside, which would automatically trigger a long position if that resistance gets broken. And so obviously, if we break key resistance, that significantly increases the probability of the volatile move playing out to the upside. So in that scenario, my long position would obviously take advantage of that volatile move to the upside. And so whether the price breaks support or resistance, whether we play out the move to the upside or to the downside, it doesn't matter, because either way, trading that volatile move can still make me money. But it is important to mention that that's just letting you know what I personally do with my own money, and that is not personal financial advice for you, because obviously you can do whatever you want with your own money. But anyway, zooming into the shorter term, taking a look at the 4-hour Ethereum to US dollar chart, right now the price of ETH is still looking extremely neutral in this choppy sideways price range. And on top of the price action simply chopping around sideways, we can also see the price is looking more neutral by looking at the price oscillators, because for example, looking at the 4-hour Ethereum RSI, this is still chopping around the neutral level, which is 50. And if you're looking at the 4-hour Ethereum MACD, at the moment, this is looking somewhat similar to the 4-hour Bitcoin MACD, where the histogram is still in the negative, which is technically slightly more bearish than bullish, although we're seeing reduced bearish momentum with the histogram currently approaching 0. And so simply based on all of this, one of the most likely scenarios in the short term for the price of ETH is most likely going to be a little bit more choppy sideways price action. And if you want to know how to make a lot of money in a choppy sideways price range like this, then check out the video popping up in the bottom left of your screen right now. And in case you're wondering, the video in the top left of your screen shows you how to make money in crypto if the price is trending up or down. But anyway, that's everything that I have to say for today. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.